Hello, and I'm so happy to be welcoming Amy Searle from Circle Communications to this episode of Convenience Talks. Amy, thank you so much for giving me your time and joining me on this gloriously sunny day that we're now both stuck inside working for. Would you like to just introduce yourself to anyone out there who doesn't know what your role is at Circle?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Katie. It's really good to see you this afternoon. So Circle Communications are a fully integrated communications consultancy. We predominantly work across food and drink brands, FMCG, retail, so the likes of PepsiCo, Birds Eye, Ferrero, Morrison's, to name a few. And our main responsibility is influencing stakeholders across the media set, so that's trade, corporate and consumer media.
Okay, thank you. So talk to me first of all, before we get into some sort of serious industry stuff, talk to me about how Circle initially responded to the coronavirus situation as we knew it to be unfolding back in March.
Yeah, of course. Gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago now when this all started. But first and foremost, it was about ensuring that our colleagues were safe and able to work at home and still be able to have their creativity and links to clients. So that's been of utmost importance to us. As an agency, you may be familiar that we're an employee-owned agency, and with that we have a real heritage within us to look after the physical and mental well-being of our colleagues. So even before COVID hit, we had a team of wellbeing warriors, we like to call them, who have been sending out daily reminders to get out, be physical, get some fresh air, but also getting us to do some really wild and wacky new skill sets in terms of face painting, watercolor painting, some interesting barbecue photos have been coming across with new creations, but it's been really keeping us all together and sharing it all across a WhatsApp group as well, keeping us all together. And similarly, a lot of them have been introducing it among our clients as well, so some really good interaction.
Lovely. And tell me about how you have then adapted for your clients on the communication side, because obviously communicating to the convenience channel in the last couple of months has been very, very different from how we would normally communicate with them as brands, as agencies, ourselves included. So how did you adapt your approach to that for your clients?
Yeah, it's a good point, Katie. So right at the very start, everything was flipped on its head from a communications point of view. So all of our long-standing campaign ideas were paused. We had to. We had to reassess the landscape that we were operating within, and realigning client comms campaigns to address that and be sympathetic with what's going on. We needed to ensure that we weren't only saying the right thing for the brands, but also doing the right thing. It's so important right now that suppliers are acting with compassion and responsibility that is really true to their brand values as well. They will always be remembered during this period of how they've made retailers feel. So that's something that we've kept in the back of our mind. It's always about doing the right thing. It's one of our core values at Circle as well. With that as well, we've had to work really collaboratively and closely. I don't think I've ever had so many face-to-face meetings with the media to really flex plans, and they've been phenomenally supportive to ensure that our brand communications is working for all of us. At the end of the day, the media are all trying to look after one another at this moment in time too. Interestingly, we have been having lots of conversations with the media, and it's important more than ever right now for brands to be investing in trade communication. So, you haven't got field reps out there seeing them day to day, retailers day to day. You haven't got BDMs out there. So a lot of our clients are actually investing in telephone calls, which sounds really simple, but also trade communications more than ever is so important. I actually saw a piece of research, I don't know if you saw this, Katie, this week, from the Brand Nursery. It was posted on the Grocer this week. It was really interesting. So it showed that although a quarter of the nation will always buy their favourite brand, so think your Walker's crisps and things like that, they'll always defer to them. But actually, during this time, people just want crisps, or they just want flour, and God forbid, can't get flour at the moment. Exactly. And 82% of those respondents actually said that they would buy a brand that was available in replacement of their sort of chosen brand. So suddenly the whole competitor set has been completely flipped on its head. So more than ever, these big brands need to be supporting the industry and authentically talking to them throughout the trade media. We actually are in the middle of doing our own trade media audit. We're actually doing a media audit, so we're looking at the consumer press, influencers. We're talking to a lot of influencers at the moment, but also the convenience press. And I can give you exclusively some results of that actually today. So 100% of the trade journalists out there are actually saying that they feel that their magazines are trusted more than ever right now, which you can understand because it's really difficult for these brands to be communicating with them right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, they haven't got the reps going into stores, so they are deferring to the magazines to hear the news.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, they're seeing a lot more digital content. And that's something that we're going to see progressing into the future. Every single outlet has said that they're going to be investing more in digital. And a lot of these webinars, like we're doing, these on face-to-face chats online. And then the other one was the opinion-based pieces. So retailers are actually looking for brands and suppliers to offer their opinion. Again, it's got to be authentic and it's got to be like tangible results off the back of the opinions.
Right.
But that's something we've been exploring with a lot of our clients recently.
Yeah, I think whenever there's a crisis, especially something that is considered to be a global crisis, I was working at the Daily Express on the day that the planes hit the World Trade Center on 9/11, and I had the American Airlines account, and the advert that we were running on the back page of the Daily Express the following day was a picture of 2 American airlines flying over the World Trade Center. And the panic that I had on the phone from the chief exec of American Airlines at the time saying, Katie, just pull everything we've done, just pull everything. So, and it does sound like from what you said, you guys took time to take stock, to sit back, to figure out how you wanted to proceed. And presumably, I mean, are your clients also switching where they want to spend their budgets, for example? It's obviously it's going much more towards digital, but presumably as well, nobody wants to do that hard sell. It's much more about support and caring in the community.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So like you said, there was a moment where I'd say about a week, we just had to take stock and just figure out what is it that's happening right now. Clients were so thrown by sorting out logistically what they're having to do. They're rationalizing their ranges, focusing on their core ranges. So all of our communications that we had planned for MPD, for instance, those stories dropped off a cliff. That's all been pushed back naturally. And as they've taken stock and had to think about the new range that they're operating with, that's what we then had to flex what we're saying to the trade media in order to get that message to the end user, so the convenience retailer. So, when you're looking at perhaps sort of smaller sizes or price mark packs, a lot of our suppliers have had to pull back on price mark packs in order to just focus on the core lines and ensuring that all channels had the availability for shoppers.
So one of the things, Amy, that I found so heartwarming about this situation is how much the industry is now being appreciated by the country and by its customers. I think that, we've always been at the forefront of community and community retailing, but I don't think that perhaps we took advantage of that. And I don't think we really understood that these people are on our front line. So I hope that feeling of goodwill continues when we go into the future. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Convenience stores have always been phenomenally good at being creative and finding their own USP against some of the bigger boys and really defining their USP within their local communities. As you know, we're really proud sponsors of this week's research that's going out with yourselves, so KAM Media and TWC, which is looking specifically around the convenience sector and what the future might look like. Within that research, it was just over 3/4, I believe, of the UK population who've actually visited a convenience store in the last 6 weeks. And 45% of them are saying that they're using them more since lockdown began, which is phenomenal. Right. And there's absolutely an opportunity there for convenience retailers to grab hold of that long-term loyalty. And we're already seeing some of the symbol groups already doing it. So I think it was Cost Cutter this week actually announced their goal to convert Lifeline shoppers into lifelong customers, which I just thought was such a lovely, simple way of putting it. Yeah. I think that one thing that really stood out for me over this period was their agility to implement the safeguarding practices and equipment in their stores. Sorry, excuse me. obviously the grocery aisles are much wider. They're much more easier to manage when you've got shoppers going in and out of the stores. But you know, it was 3/4 of the 500 shoppers that we asked said that they actually felt safe going into a convenience store over a grocery store. So you know, the proof's in the pudding. It's in there within the research. So there's a huge opportunity for the convenience sector for the future. And I think for me, that cost cutter way of putting it in terms of creating these lifelong shoppers completely defines the future for convenience retail. I think we're going to see a re-emergence of the old store. So, you know, you're not just looking at a convenience store as the top-up shop or the impulse purchase. You know, they're doing phenomenal things with local farms. You're seeing beautifully packaged milk bottles. So going back to that sort of heritage shop that you used to go to and get your greengrocers and all that kind of thing. And actually expanding their services as well. So some of the retailers have been actually linking up with their local NHS and their pharmacies, and actually alleviating the pressure of them doing prescription delivery services, which has just been phenomenal. And to your point earlier as well around the mixture of the on-trade and the off-trade, you're seeing a lot more of that happening. And I think that's something that's going to really redefine convenience into the future. Mixed with that is obviously a lot of them are having to fast track their home delivery services.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a bit of a modern twist. So while we're going back to the old shop, I think there's going to be this modern twist of an incorporation of new digital experiences and optimization within these small stores. So whether that's smart payment or whether that's a link up with Uber Eats, I'm quite excited to see what the new looks like.
Absolutely. And I think that is the perfect way to end our conversation, Amy. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for sponsoring the report with TWC into the future of convenience. And as you say, that will be released this afternoon, chapter by chapter, I believe. So anybody watching, have a look out for that, because hopefully it will give you a really good steer as to what consumers are doing and what they're planning to do when lockdown starts to ease and finish. Amy, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up with you in a big way when we get out the other side of all this.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you.